Well, this doesn't sound like a confident campaign. Democrats are now asking Hillary Clinton to save Joe Biden's failing re-election prospects. A brand new poll shows Nikki Haley absolutely clobbering Joe Biden by a whopping 17 points, and former President Trump defeating Biden by 4 points. And with numbers that bad, panicked Democrats are bringing in Hillary Clinton to boost his campaign and become a key player in the re-election effort. Last month, Hillary hosted a fundraiser that raked in almost $1 million for the big guy's campaign. Hillary is not the only Democrat on the case to save Joe Biden. Quote, Clinton's role is only expected to grow in the new year, but for now, she's filling a space that at a later point in the campaign season, former President Barack Obama will join. Okay, so if we've got these numbers where, Nikki Haley is 17 points ahead and, Donald Trump is 4 points ahead, although, Nikki Haley's numbers, I guess it depends on the poll. What is Hillary Clinton going to do to save the day, Jesse?
She knows how to lose to Donald Trump. I wouldn't be asking her for much advice. She probably leaked that she's going to be taking a bigger role in the campaign. She held a nice fundraiser at Chappaqua, and she placed this in Politico. I don't know what really she adds. But you're right. I think the Biden campaign is in deep, deep trouble. Not only losing by 4 to Trump, but by how many? 17 to Nikki. And if you look at those numbers, she goes up a little over to 51 more than Trump, but a lot of that deterioration are Democrats not voting for Joe Biden and voting for Nikki Haley. And if you have the Hunter situation, which is still percolating, you don't know how that's going to shake out. And the Oracle of Omaha dumping all his stocks in the first 3 quarters, something could be not very good around the corner.
Okay. All right. Well, Greg, think of the fact that, Nikki Haley may be at 17 or whatever, but she's never making it out of the pack. So, and with Donald Trump in Iowa, I mean, he's crushing everybody in Iowa.
Maybe it's about VP. Who knows? Too soon to tell. But if I were Joe Biden, I would be worried. Hillary coming aboard, like you said, she's not known for winning elections. This is kind of like asking Sammy the Bull to take care of your loud neighbor. Message to Joe: if Hillary shows up at the White House with a MyPillow, it's not for napping. But I think we should all be a little worried and prepared for what's to come. Because even when the Dems aren't painted in a corner, they fight like they do. They can create a conflict to cause fear and anxiety and outrage in order to keep Republicans, scared of even, voting. And I think they're in a terrible spot now, hence the green light for calling everybody Hitler or that Trump is going to end democracy. That, again, is to allow any efforts, legal or otherwise, to destroy the candidacy. We've been watching these marches, the protesters screaming for genocide. That's going to morph. It's going to morph into a different kind of protest, but with the same obsession. It's going to go nuclear, but it won't just be anti-Semitism. It's going to be anti-everybody who is not on board.
Harold, if Trump is beating Biden on the border by 30%, inflation by 21%, the economy 17%, what else besides abortion does Biden have going for him?
So having access to safe and legal abortions has been the issue that I think has confounded a lot of people as to how that issue alone, if you look at the data points 4 or 5 weeks ago, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, the elections and the referendums, as well as a year ago with the midterms. It's unclear to me if that will sustain itself through next year, but certainly Democrats, and I believe the White House believes that. Now, I've said for a while, I don't believe that the campaign for Mr. Biden is fully built out. I don't think that they have hired the number of people they need to hire to really have a full campaign. And if they have a strategy, it's a tightly held secret. I think that one of the things they need to do is to begin campaigning in earnest, to talk about the things in addition to choice and access to safe and legal abortions that the president has done and what he plans to do going forward. One of the interesting things about all of this is that it appears from some of the polling that at least the most dominant candidate on the Republican side is not the front runner, although the front runner is 3 or 4 points ahead. But the most dominant candidate, Miss Haley, when they're head-to-head, she's the only one polling above 50. We all know, but Dana and I know in particular, having been in these campaigns, being in the lead but not being above 50 is different. When you're above 50, I don't care if your lead's 4 points or 14 points. It's a different way to run. It's a different way to run in a campaign. I always thought in 2016 that President Trump, then candidate Trump, was going to win because Mrs. Clinton, as much as she was ahead of him, she was never above 50 in any of the battleground states. So here we are again today with both of these, the two front runners hovering somewhere in high 40s, mid 40s, and you have another candidate that's way ahead. I think that as we get closer here to January 15th and January 23rd and February 8th and February 23rd, the dates of some of the important contests, early contests, Republicans are going to have a big choice to make. Do you take a risk with the person who is the front runner right now, who's way ahead in the polls, who's seemingly not at 50 and is above, but is running ahead of President Biden? Or do you take a risk on someone else who's way ahead of him? And then Democrats, if Nikki Haley continues to poll well, and I know you were looking at some of the polling data, if she looks as if she's going to win one of the early states, Democrats going to have a hard question. I don't know if it will be Mrs. Clinton, but they're going to have a hard question to answer. Do you stick with this president if he continues to be clobbered in the polls by Ms. Haley? I don't know the answers to these things, but I do hope they get a strategy and they start campaigning soon.
Yeah, but along with what Harold's saying, in Iowa, Trump's at 50, Haley's at 11.
Right.
And then you've got what after that? North Carolina and a few others. South Carolina.
Nevada.
Right.
No, but yeah, it goes Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, then Super Tuesday, but just like Super Mega Tuesday. There's all sorts of races that day. So a couple things. So on Nikki Haley might well not make it out of the primary. She might not even get to be the one that's going head-to-head against President Trump because Republican voters typically are not persuaded by electability. But in those polls, it shows that if you want to beat Biden, then you want to go against Nikki Haley. One of the reasons that the Biden campaign, perhaps mistakenly, has long wanted to run against Trump again is because they know that he would probably be beaten by somebody else. He also might be beaten by somebody who from his own camp. RFK Jr. with the third-party run, getting 20% in Michigan in the recent poll. In addition, on the question of democracy, of protecting democracy, Biden has only a 1-point lead over Trump in the Wall Street Journal poll.
That's amazing.
Okay, so people are concerned about the future of democracy for different reasons, but also a similar type of thing. The other point I would make about Hillary Clinton, if I could. So one of the problems for Biden is that younger people are unenthusiastic about him, and they're really against his defense of Israel. Do you think bringing Hillary Clinton on is going to help that situation?
Yeah, that's a good
Absolutely
point.
not. But it might help him keep more Democrats in his camp, because if he goes too far to the progressives on the Israel-Hamas Gaza question, then he's going to alienate them. But where Hillary Clinton could be effective is on abortion. And that is the play that the Democrats are going to run in all 50 states, no matter what. And some of these states have really important referendum. So she could possibly be helpful there, but not on a big scale.
Yeah, and it's a question of where they put it on a referendum and whether or not it is an issue in a lot of states.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.